Chapter 1. Exile Siberia. Endless snow-covered lands, a gloomy sky, and a bottomless void of hopelessness. The road to exile was long and full of suffering. The cold pierced their lungs like a sharp knife, creeping into their very bones. 3 men, each with different stories but bound to the same fate, were exiled to these desolate lands. Alexander had once been an aristocrat. He was brought before the court under heavy accusations and declared a traitor. Neither his crime nor his sentence had anything to do with justice. Once he had roamed in grand halls, now he was just a lost figure in the silence of death. Now his hands were shackled, and he stared into the uncertain future ahead of him. Ivan was a former soldier. He had questioned orders and was accused of rebellion. Simply for defending his honor, he suddenly found himself labeled as an enemy of the state. Now his past loyalties had become his chains, his name erased from all records. His eyes were haunted by the ghosts of the comrades he had lost in battle. At that moment, for the first time in his life, he realized there was something colder than war. The merciless Siberian climate. Mikhail was branded a common criminal, but his true crime was being born in the wrong place at the wrong time. He had spoken the wrong words, criticized the wrong rulers. His greatest dream was to reunite with his family one day, though he wasn't even sure if they were still alive. Every night, when he closed his eyes, he tried to hear his mother's voice, but the howling wind drowned out everything. Their wrists were shackled, and the bitter wind lashed their faces mercilessly. They had traveled for days without food or water. Most nights they went without sleep, sometimes barely able to stand. Along the way, many prisoners had fallen, freezing to death. The guards simply kicked the lifeless bodies to the side of the road and kept walking. Death had lost all meaning. One night, as they paused for a rest, Ivan fell to his knees and stared at the empty sky. "Do you think we will ever escape from here?" he whispered. Alexander tried to smile, but it faded like a snowflake melting in the wind. "Thinking about that is a luxury," Mikhail said, his voice echoing like a breath lost in the freezing air. "First we need to survive. Here, in this cold, in this hunger." Just then, a guard approached them, gripping his rifle. "Get up!" "The journey isn't over," he barked. There was no mercy in his eyes. The 3 men exchanged a brief glance before slowly rising to their feet. As they continued their unknown journey, one of them muttered to himself, "This is just the beginning." End of Chapter 1.